every booktuber has like these big shelves, and I just have like this little one. But like these are like my god tier books, I guess, or like books that I can't stand getting rid of, because I got rid of basically 90% of what I had. We're gonna go through every single book that I've read in the year of 2024 and tier rank them, because it is so fun. I've seen other people do it, and as my big introduction to the internet, that was the best way to start. Ignore my nails being two different colors, it's just I'm a nail tech, and that's just the explanation of it. I've read 104 books, I'm pretty sure, this year, but I'm not going to include self-help or like business related, because I did read a lot of those in the middle of the year, but I just don't feel like they'll fit the rankings. So it's all of the fiction books that I have read. Now I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 tiers in this book ranking. The god tier one is I want to get this tattooed on my body. Pretty standard, it's kind of in the name. I feel like I don't get a lot of god tier books, so I feel like this category is the one that's going to be like the least touched. And then we have Spectacular, give me 14 of them. Self-explanatory again. Then we have Smash, and that's with no comment. Then we were rooting for you. Either you were excited for the book and it disappointed you, or you were in the middle of the book enjoying it and then the ending on the middle just ruined it for you. And then we have Love to Hate. When I say this, I mean those films that are not critically acclaimed, let's say, but you love to like just rewatch because they're entertaining. Twilight, any rom-coms, these are the kind of books I would put in that category. And then really not that special, they were just plain. Then we have Couldn't Tell You a Thing That Happened, and this happens quite a lot because I am forgetful when it comes to books. If they do not change me in some sort of way, or that I love them, or if I hate them, if it's not like a strong emotion, I just won't remember them. Now we have What the F Is That? And that is those books that were just so bad you were like, why was this written? Just what the hell just happened? But yeah, those are all the tiers. Starting off, 5 Survive. I think if I didn't read this book last year, I would not have read as many books as I have. So on this list actually I have 94 fiction books, and that would not have happened if it wasn't for this book, because thrillers really started off the year, and you'll see that in a sec. I feel like it was okay in the beginning. I was so confused on what was happening, like the description, like I thought she was going insane for a second, and maybe she was, but this one, it was really not that special. Like nothing really stood out to me. On the other side, we have the Natural series. I loved it. I don't care if it wasn't the best written, if some books were kind of far-fetched and everything kind of fell into place too easily. I do not care about that. I loved it. I loved everything, and it got me, like I said, to read this many books. So how can I not give it the credit that is due? The first book, Spectacular, give me 14 of them. That has to be that. It's always the first book in the series, I feel like, that really kickstarts everything off, unless it doesn't. That book I would reread. I don't reread a lot of books. In fact, I don't think I've ever had to reread something, well, wanted to reread something, except for In a Glass. But that's a different story for another day. Killer Instincts, the second book. I feel like it was really interesting. It has to be Spectacular, give me 14 of them. All in, so each book kind of centers around one of the main characters. But these kids have these special abilities that make them useful to the FBI, and each one of them has like a certain book to them. All in, I feel like there was a mix, but I love the numbers. Even though I'm terrible at maths, I love the idea of numbers in books, and I don't know why, it just happens. I can't put them all in Spectacular, give me 14 of them, because I feel like that's just a cop-out, but I think they might be. Like if I was to put this whole series not separately, it would be in Spectacular, give me 14 of them. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Actually, no, I'm gonna leave it, actually, okay. All in, I will say, was a little bit too far. I didn't really understand. That makes me sound dumb. When the reveal happened, I was kind of like, what just happened? And then I just moved on from that. So I think that just goes into Smash. Then we've got Bad Blood. I have to say, we were rooting for you. I had quite literal nightmares after I finished this series. It was actually quite dark, especially the last book, and the way that it went to that point. I feel like it was a bit far-fetched. Something better could have been done. Then we've got the novella, really not that special. Out of Love. I'm deciding between really not that special and Couldn't Tell a Thing That Happened. I liked the concept of it, but it really didn't stand out. You know, I'm just gonna put really not that special. It was just a tiny bit boring. I wasn't rooting for them at all, and I feel like to make me actually believe that they were in love in the first place, like you have to do a little bit of work, and then you can make them fall out of love. And then we have the Twisted series. Where do I even start? I don't know how I got through all 4 of these books, but I feel like they were just so popular that I had to go through the whole series. Like I could not leave on the first book. And I was actually excited a little bit for Twisted Hate, so I had to push through because it's enemies to lovers basically. Twisted Love, honestly, love to hate. I love to hate it. Truly, I do remember it vividly in my head. It was entertaining. It just wasn't good, but it was entertaining. Twisted Games is the second book, but I'm gonna go to Twisted Hate first. I'm quite ironic actually, but I love to hate it. Then we've got Twisted Games. This one, you know, I was rooting for you. I feel like I had a lot of fun with this series, but I also wanted it to get better, I guess. This book was just too long. It just didn't hit at all. Like it wasn't even entertaining. I haven't slept yet, like at all. And this might be why I can barely talk. So we're gonna drink some coffee and try to revive myself. Actually, that's a lie, I did sleep for 3 hours. That's not any better. But then we have Twisted Lies, which was even worse. Actually, let me put Twisted Games to really not that special. Like in my head, I think I'm biased because I'm like, okay, this tier doesn't have a lot of books in it. Let me put that book in there. But this is not how it goes, okay? I'm gonna be truthful to myself and to you. So Twisted Lies, it was so boring. I don't know how I got through that. That could have genuinely put me in a reading slump. And because of that, I blame this book. Then we have Birthday Girl. This was a little bit of like a guilty pleasure. The whole premise is that she's dating her ex-boyfriend's dad. And I could just picture this old man with like a long beard, and I just could not get through that picture. I had to like try to look at fan art, make myself imagine him as actually attractive, but I just couldn't do it. And honestly, I love to hate it. Breaking Haley. There was a TikTok ad. That's where I got this book from. It feels like fan art of another bad book. Was quite the cliffhanger, but I just forgot about it. Like this book did nothing for me, absolutely nothing. So I'm just gonna put that in, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Then we have Kingdom of the Wicked, and I will say we were rooting for you. I really was. I wanted to love it. The writing took me out of the story. One paragraph, even one sentence, we were doing something. The next sentence, we're doing something completely out of the blue. It was a little bit complicated to understand. In terms of the writing, you really have to pay attention of what's going on. When I finished the book, in the end, I literally had to Google ending explained. Love Raph though. Is that his name? He's the only redeeming quality. We got Bad Boys Break Hearts. Really not that special. If you love Wattpad, this is kind of the transition from that side of things to like contemporary romance. It was entertaining while it lasted. Then we got the Inheritance Games. I loved it. Smash. I love the concept. I read this book so I can imagine myself being in her POV and getting all this money. It was really interesting. That's all I have to say. Like no words are coming to my brain. I liked it. It was interesting. I love puzzles. That's another thing. It's like a murder mystery about the murder. So mystery. Mystery basically. Okay, then we got the Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second book. I want to put the Inheritance Game in Spectacular and the second book in Smash. And then the third book, I think is Smash as well. Butcher and Blackbird. I will say, during this time of my life, I was reading books like a book a day. I was going crazy. That's why in the summer, I read 0 books and I still managed to get over 100 because I was just on a rampage. I was going at it, and this was one of the books that fell victim to my craziness. When I was reading it, I was just having headaches because of how much I read. I was just there for the vibes actually. Like the romance was nothing like out of the ordinary, I guess. Well, it is actually out of the ordinary because they're both serial killers, but like it wasn't impactful. Like it was just there and I liked it, but it was nothing special. Then Nice Guys Don't Win. So this is actually, yeah, I could have done that together. This is the second book in Bad Boys Break Hearts. It was slightly less good than the first one, like a palate cleanser, but a really bland one. But then we go to the other books in the series. They were all in Couldn't Tell You a Thing That Happened. I think that's, yeah, that's all the series. My package literally came. Oh my god, what a gift. Is this a reward? The goods secured, and it's not book mail. I wish it was. Moving on. Then we have Better Than the Movies. I just read these books because they recommended to me. Like, if you're gonna say, I really love this book, I'm gonna believe you. And then I read stuff like this. Am I that picky? I start questioning myself. I'm like, I can't be that picky, but this was something special. I don't know why no one says this, or I haven't heard anyone say this. This book is exactly like The Duff. And that film, I love to rewatch it because it's like one of those Twilight things. This is really hard. I'm really indecisive. If I love a book or if I hate a book, it's just easy. But these in-betweeners, no idea where they go. This is what no sleeping does. Why am I like this? You know what? Love to hate. I feel like I would actually reread this because it's so similar to The Duff, and I would rewatch that film. I know people love this. I didn't even start with a disclaimer. These are my opinions. And I hope you know that. And I know that I didn't like this as much as everyone else did. And that's okay. I feel like we're in a therapy session right now. Honestly, I need therapy after reading these books. Anyways, Bride, no comment. Absolutely no comment. Smash. Now, I did read werewolf romances on Wattpad, but let me tell you something. There was not a single book that I have read with the not situation inside of it. I don't know how this came to be because I know the OG werewolf things and they would never think of this shit. Never. Or at least I hope they wouldn't. 7 Year Slip. Again, in this time period, I was reading books, but I was doing too much of the reading rather than actually reading, if you know what I mean. And this fell victim to it. 7 Year Slip, okay, I liked it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, the 7 year, oh my God. Too much coffee. Okay, 7 Year Slip. I'm not making this up. Oh my days, what's wrong with me? Okay, the 7 Year Slip. Smash. Whenever there is a book where there's cooking involved, food involved, I automatically love it because it makes me want to be a chef. The scratch is getting itched. Obviously, that's not the main point. I like the way it's told. I like the structure. It's like I'm talking about an essay. Then we've got Brutal Prince. Straight away, love to hate. Because the one part I can't get out of is the reason why there's strawberries on the cover. And the way the strawberry situation happened. I know it's very vague, but I don't want to spoil anything just in case you want to read it. Something about that was just kind of funny to me. Like, it was serious, but it was funny. And this is about the strawberries. There's pictures inside. Graphic pictures inside, and there's also an arranged marriage, which I'm not really a fan of, but it was fun. That's all I could say. Like, I read for the vibes. I don't read to be changed unless it's this book, because that's an amazing segue into Daisy Jones and the Six. Honestly, I want to get this tattooed on my body. I actually started reading this way before last year, but then I couldn't get into it because it was told in a format where it's kind of like an interview, so it's not like really a book, and I was struggling like to make out all the characters. This would be a good film or TV series, and it is a TV series. I don't need to even watch it. Like, this has done an amazing job producing and scripting and directing the movie in my head. It worked perfectly. The emotions, everything, it was perfection. Then we got Happily Never After, and you know what, this is what pisses me off. Okay, there's all these romance books, and in almost none of them there is a dating stage. Every Lynn Painter book that I read so far, there is a dating stage. Like, they actually go together out, they do things, they have fun. There was a specific scene I remember, I think it was in this one, or actually it was in Love Way Jack. Let me just put them two together. Like, they both have dating in them. It's just so essential to believe that the two people are actually in love. I was impressed by the bare and minimum standard of two people going out and doing things that they enjoy together. So I'm gonna give it the credit that is due. Happily Never After, I feel like I was waiting for it to be like life-changing moment, but it was a good read. Love Wager, honestly, I don't remember a lot, but smash. Some people would be like, why did you put Bride and the 7 Year Slip together? Like, are you stupid? I am very diverse in my reading. Then we have The Vicious Games. Honestly, what was that? But I was so disappointed because I was expecting a lot and it didn't really deliver. Anyways, we have Swift and Saddled. Oh wait, let me go back to Done and Dusted first. Please tell me I downloaded it. Oh, I did. Okay. This one, honestly, it just really wasn't that special. Swift and Saddled, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. They were cowboy romances, which which you'll see later about how I feel about them, might say it's love to hate. Let Me Move better than the movies too, we're rooting for you. And I'm changing my mind a lot, but I'm just thinking about the books inside there and if I feel the same about all of them. Also, I feel like this isn't like a definitive list. Like in 10 years time, I'm gonna look at this and be like, what was I thinking? Which is usually the case actually in my life. Enough said. That's all you really need to hear about Done and Dusted and Swift Untitled. And we have Hate Mail. We were rooting for you. The main character pissed me off. Like the way she reacted to the whole situation was not okay in the slightest. Like it was good in the beginning and then the ending just disappointed me. The reactions were way over the top. Like you're just overreacting at that point. You sounded like a 12-year-old. Then we have The Night Shift. Let me tell you something about this book. Okay, The Night Shift has a total of about like, let's say 4 scenes. This is a normal sized book. And then not in a million years, yeah, it was not a good reading experience for me. There was an important topic talked about. It's not a romance. It's more about friendship and not enabling someone. And we have the reappearance of Rachel Price. I really liked it, but it's not as good as Good Girls Guide to Murder. So I'd say smash. Yellowface, spectacular. If you take out the important topics talked about it, it was just entertaining to read about. It was interesting. I wasn't bored. I can't really say it was fun to read. I think it was written well. I'm actually reading Poppy Wood this year, hopefully. So I will be seeing more of this author. Then we've got Study in Charlotte. What was that? She was like cardboard Sherlock Holmes. I liked Enola Holmes more than this. Things We Never Got Over. Love to hate. I don't think we needed this. Like, it was fun actually, and that's all I can say. Things We Hide from the Light. Couldn't tell a thing that happened. And same with Things We Left Behind. From the second one, what really annoyed me, actually the relationship from the first book. Okay, so the female main character is the first book's man's ex. And the way like he cares for her, it's like you shouldn't be doing that with an ex. I don't care how much of a bestie she is to your girlfriend, you should not be that much protective over your ex. Well, I guess not really his ex, but like they banged. It annoyed me. But the main relationship, I feel like it just wasn't really that special. And then same with Things We Left Behind. It just wasn't anything that was spectacular. Then we got my probably favorite book out of the Magnolia series, this book. I feel like I connected to it. Like Daisy really hit a rock bottom. And reading about this, I was just like, I can understand that, but I'm not gonna say anything else because I'm just gonna draw bad attention to my own life. But anyways, then we got Daisy Hates, the second book, and this one I can't really remember that much, but I just remember like it was good. I love Julian, smash. This book, spectacular. That's all I can say. Then we got Magnolia Parks. Long Way Home is the second one in her series. I read the first, I think, in 2023. I assume so since it's not on this list. But this one, spectacular. Because Julian and Magnolia, and also the ending. I think I cried. Into the Dark, same. Powerful novella. I didn't cry. I feel like I don't really cry in novellas. Like, it really has to hit me starting from page 1. And this one, like, it was good to read, but it wasn't anything like special. So really not that special. And then we got Part of Your World. So I read Part of Your World and Yours Truly by Ivy Jimenez because I was waiting to read Just for the Summer. And since they are like interconnected standalones, I feel like I just had to read these. So Part of Your World, I feel like I was rooting for it. Like, it was okay. That's all I have to say. It was okay. Yours Truly as well. Like, it wasn't the worst books of all time, definitely not. And I did like reading them. Like, there was no point in time where I'm like, I should have just DNF'd this. Just for the Summer. Finally, some positives. So Just for the Summer, let me tell you something. When you hear like the phrase, oh, on one page I laughed, the next page I cried, this is this book. I finally understood the meaning of this because I was laughing and crying. It was very funny compared to like her other 2 books. This probably was the funniest. I just loved everything about it. And if you know the scene that I'm talking about, it's the one with the inflatable unicorn. That was when I put my hand down and I said, tattoo this quote. Tattoo this entire scene on my body because I just want to remember it for the rest of the time. That's how I feel about it. Then we have funny story. Okay, this is gonna rile up some feathers. I feel like Emily Henry's writing does not vibe with me. It really doesn't, which maybe it's my fault. This was another time where I was just reading instead of reading. God, this has got to stop. Too much coffee. I was rooting for you. I picked it up because a lot of people love Emily Henry, and I am planning on reading Book Lovers. I have read Beach Read like such a long while ago. Very like maybe the year it came out, but I was like quite like youngish then. I'm saying like this is like it came out like 10 years ago. Like no, it came out like a good few years ago. I just felt like it was okay. I don't want to reread it. So anyways, we're talking about a funny story here. A funny story. No, that was not funny. I wanted it to be good. It's like I went in expecting it to be bad, but I think it was just boring. Like, I have to be honest. Like, I liked the vibes, I liked the couple, but something about the writing, it just wasn't for me. And then we got another series that I realized I downloaded the wrong cover for the last one, so it's not gonna match. But this is my favorite cover that they have. So this was an OG booktube series, and I always wanted to read it, but I never had the chance, I guess. So I have read it. Clearly it was not what I expected at all. It doesn't have magic per se, but it has a lot of creatures, and I found that like it was a little bit dark actually. Like if you really think about it, it was dark. The first one, honestly, smash. I think the rest of the series just got a little tiny bit out of hand. I don't remember where everything was well for a set, because it's basically creature number 1 versus creature number 2 war, but then they come together to fight. I don't know if that's a spoiler. Anyways, you're not gonna know what I'm talking about anyways. They come together, and I love that part. I love when frenemies, you know, we were rooting for you. Gods and Monsters, the third one, is smash. I like the way it ended. Now we got the one, the only Elsie Silver. Where do I begin? Flawless. I don't know, this is such a stupid reason, but I feel like I have to be honest, okay? Flawless, I liked how it went. I skipped the spicy scenes. Not because I'm against it, but because I felt like maybe I was just like, my hormones were this is too much information. It was good for what it was. And I'm gonna say that now, I love to hate it. I'm not in love with this book. It's not 5 stars by any means, but it was a good start to cowboy romance. I think that's the first one I've ever read out of this subgenre. It didn't get me giggling and kicking my feet, and that's what I want out of a romance. Then we've got the rest of the series. I'm telling you right now, Hopeless, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Reckless, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Powerless, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Where's the other one? Heartless, I love to hate it. Maybe that's because like my favorite booktalker slash booktuber loved it, and I'm influenced by that. But at the same time, it was heartless and it was heartfelt. I felt that heart. I did not hate this series, okay? I did not hate it. I think I just read it at the wrong time in my life. Then we've got Otherworld. What was that? This is everything you need to know. The main character, who I think is quite young because it's YA, compared genitalia sizes with a video game character. That's all there really is to say. That's just not my favorite. Truly devious. Now you may say that it wasn't like, wow, it didn't shock me. Like if you read everything that happened before the reveal, you wouldn't be able to guess what would happen, like based off the evidence is what I mean. And I don't like when these mystery books do this, because then it's like, oh, well, I want to be guessing too. I want to prove myself that I'm smarter than the main character, who is probably 16 to 18 and doesn't know any better than me. What I liked about it a lot was that the things that have unfolded to lead to this mystery were very realistic, and you could really believe it. I bet this happened to somebody in real life because it's real. That's what I liked about it. I forgot what the second book is about and the third. Honestly, Truly Devious, smash. Vanishing Stare, I think I also liked it, but then Hand on the Wall, I couldn't tell you a thing that happened. But I'm gonna be truthful, I cannot even like form a coherent opinion of it because I do not remember. Then we've got The Books in the Woods. Again, couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Actually, I can tell you what happened. I felt like I was rooting for you. I really was. Like, there was just something about it, like the reveal. It's just like a, what's that thing called? Like a eureka moment. Is that what it's called for the main character? And I just felt like, well, why am I reading this then? Like, I want to solve it as well alongside you. But then you randomly one night come up with the whole answer to this whole mystery by yourself. Like, everything just clicks in your head. Maybe just because like it's a book, she has to be smart. Like I said, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is, I think, the benchmark for every other mystery that I read, because the way it was done, the way it was written, I love it. This did not feel the same. You could have planted evidence. Like, I'm not that smart, okay? I wouldn't have figured it out. Then I think there was another one. Yes, 9 Liars. Couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Then we got Stars and Smoke. I like a lot of Marie Lu's books. They're always very unique and I guess well thought out. So the whole thing is that I feel like not a lot of people talk about it. So I will tell you what it's about because I'm betting like 80% that you don't know this. But Stars and Smoke is about this spy and a rock star. They have to work together basically to stop someone evil, as one usually does. But the way it was written, like, I loved it. It was fun to read. It was so fun to read, but it wasn't life-changing, which is why it's going in Smash. That's it for it, really. And then we have the second book in that duology. I think it's only a duology. Akon and Inferno. The action scenes were nice. I liked it. Then we got The Kiss of Deception, another series where I always wanted to read it. It's an OG BookTube series, but I think the political intrigue put me off and it intimidated me. I finally read it and it's actually very easy to read because it's YA, I guess, but I was expecting it to be more, I guess, complicated. The Kiss of Deception, Smash, it wasn't on the same level as every book on here, but it was fun. And then we have the second book, which is Heart of Betrayal. Honestly, the second book's, I can't remember exactly what happened, but they weren't the best, which is why I want to say we're rooting for you, because it was a good start to the series, but I feel like it could have been done better. We got Red, White and Royal Blue. I liked it. I really want to watch the film, but I feel like all the extra stuff was a bit confusing. I didn't vibe with the writing as well. Like, the writing really takes me out of the story. If it's really bad writing, well, it's not really bad, but if I don't connect to it, I can't do it. It's not easy one to read. And then I felt like I'm just doing a chore trying to get through this book, which is how I felt about it. So, and I couldn't tell you anything that happened because I don't hate it. I'm not gonna put in with all these other books. Like, it's not on the same level at all. I was expecting better. Then we got One Dark Window and Two. Why didn't I put the other one there? Okay, well, I didn't put in the second book, and I will put it in because I was gonna be lazy and just say which tier it would go in, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be productive and put it actually in. So I actually read 95 books. We are all good. One Dark Window. Okay, I feel like everyone says this, but it's so true. The magic system. I wish that I could think of that when I try writing a book, because it was so interesting. And the monster inside of her goes on the Him Yao cake. Then we have Two Twisted Crowns, the sequel. This series is not very memorable, but it was interesting. That's what you really want. Then we got another love story, I Want a Tattooed on My Body. Now, I feel like a lot of people were complaining that the romance was not really good and that some of the things that happened weren't necessary. I think it was amazing. Okay, sue me. I love the concept. I mean, it's like going, I guess what I was comparing it to is, imagine if your favorite series is the Elsie Silver blah 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 series with Heartless and Flawless and this is Rose Hill. No, it's not Rose Hill. Rebel, maybe. It's like, imagine your favorite series is that, and then you try and escape your problems, and then you run into a town that is in that series, and imagine you're there speaking to all your favorite characters, and even though you know you should leave and you should not get into all that mess, you're just like, well, my problems are there, my problems are not here, therefore I'm staying here. And that's what I love. I cried in the end. I did. I feel like there's slight little bit of mystery behind, like, not mystery, but like something that was not explained right away. Love that part when it was revealed. It's just good. Then we have the rom-comers. Spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now. I did not imagine that I would like this, but I loved it. I loved it. And I love the way the main character, she always carries a manuscript in her bag just in case she comes across a person she looks up to. Well, not manuscript, but something along those lines. She's hoping that one day she's gonna run into someone that she looks up to and pitch. And I thought that was just so cute. That's not all I can remember, but that's like there's certain moments in books that are engraved into my brain. That was that. And for that reason, spectacular. Then we have Divine Rivals. I was rooting for you. It wasn't vanilla ice cream, but it was like, what's another basic flavor? It was like strawberry or chocolate. It was chocolate ice cream, plain, and I don't really like it. Like, if there's nothing to eat, I'll eat it, but I just don't go for it. And that's how I felt about this book. Then we got Wild Love and Wild Eyes. Wild Love is the first one. So this is like a spin-off series to Elsie Silver's other book series. Interconnected standalones. I'll be honest, Wild Love, really not that special. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Something about it just didn't hit. However, I will redeem myself because Wild Eyes, oh, it hit. Yes, this is my favorite book. I haven't read her like backlist, the other series, but from all the books I read from her so far, that one was my favorite. It was funny, it was cute, and for this series at least I didn't skip the spy scenes, so that's another plus to keep in mind. Then we got The Predator and The Reaper. Smash and spectacular, both of them combined. I should make a tier that's just specifically for these books. They're on another level. I feel like this was like a 4.75 if I'm being very picky. Like in my heart, it's a 5. In my head, it's a 4.75. It was just so good. I mean, Tristan Kane on it, like by himself. I want it tattooed on my body. Like the books, they were fun. But the only thing that I didn't really like is that the main character kept saying how she's so smart. Well, if you were so smart, then you wouldn't have to tell me. I would just know that you're smart. We all know that she can code, but she says the same thing like every 10 pages. For that reason alone, it's not a god tier series, but I liked it. And then we got Savage Lands. Honestly, love to hate. Oh no. This is a guilty pleasure, but I just wish that it was written better. Like, rewrite it, god tier instantly. Love to hate it for now. Then we got Green Light. When I put this placement, I don't want anybody to judge me, because no comment. Absolutely no comment. Ugh, my coffee got cold. This book, it is the guilty pleasure. I've stayed up all night reading this, which is not often the case. Obviously, okay, this is a dark romance about step siblings, but in my defense, the step siblings are over 18, I think. And that's when that's not when they first meet, but that's when they first physically meet. And they hate each other. Love that. And what I love about this book, I love when books are not afraid to write stuff on the page. Hear me out. This is gonna sound so philosophical. People are bad, and you see them bad on the page. But like not bad, like psychotic bad. A little bit psychotic, okay? The characters are both morally grey, to say the least. There is a little bit of a mystery in there, which I liked. The main guy, I mean, I really want to say this, but I don't know if I should. Okay, just give a few seconds. You should skip a few seconds, but I don't even know how to say this like lightly. He does something to his best friend so that he could stop pestering him about her. Like, this author was not afraid. She said, I'm gonna put this on the page. I respect that. Anyways, that's enough said. Like, it already says a lot about me that I put in my god tier list. It's toxic, but it's a good toxic. Anyways, There Are No Saints, honestly, really not that special. I don't even know how to explain this. It's he's not really a serial killer. It's like a vigilante, I guess, but he's also a psychopath. He's an artist, and she's also an artist. And I read this book because this is the same author, by the way, who wrote Butch and Blackbird. Yeah, moving on. This is just getting more deranged as it goes. You can tell what kind of mood I was in when I read all of these. Well, a dark one, I should say. Little Stranger. Honestly, I was rooting for you. I really was. The first part, a little bit weird, but like, it's a dark romance, what can you expect? But it was, everyone keeps saying this, and I totally agree. What's his name? Malachi. He is baby girl. He is a baby girl. He can have a little bow on his hair. That's him, but he's also a psychopath. So what does that really say about me? For the most part, I wanted to give him a hug. The second part, I feel like that you got out of hand, boy. He went off the rails, but she was also off the rails with him. So I guess it makes sense, but it's just like, you could have made it so much better. And I was comparing it to Green Light as well. I guess it's similar. Like, they're foster siblings and Green Light's step siblings, but they do meet at a young age. And then he's already possessive of her. And I was like, whoa, you're way too young. You are way too young to be doing, well, not to be doing anything, but to be saying, she's mine. So it included a trigger list, right? A trigger warning list. And I looked at all of them and I was like, okay. But then it chronologically followed the list. And it felt like checking off that list. Then we got Quicksilver. This is the same feeling you get when you read Fourth Wing, Powerless. What can I say? It was a good time. I am nothing if not basic, and I loved it. What can I say? Spectacular, give me 14 of them. I am waiting eagerly for the second book. Like, this is not talked enough. I saw an interview of the author and she casually just said, oh yeah, like I wrote it in 6 weeks. What do you mean you wrote it in 6 weeks? And this is quite a long book, okay? But she just seemed like, oh yeah, like I wrote it in 6 weeks, and the next one, like I'm already starting to write. But I you know what, she is basically saying that she's a fast writer. The publishers are just not fast enough. I love that. I digress. What I didn't like about this book, because there was one thing that I didn't like. The beginning of the book, the status quo, if you will, it was so different from the rest of the book. I feel like these two could have been like separate books. The beginning and the middle and the end, they could have been separate books because it was just that different. The main character, I wanted her like I saw her in the beginning. Then we got Insatiable, another dark romance. Spectacular. I feel like the slow burn could have slow burn more. Like it wasn't a slow burn, it's a second chance romance, but it's got like very, let's say, like triggering content within it, but I still liked it nonetheless. And we got Haunted Love. Honestly, what was that? This doesn't even deserve a minute of me talking about it. If we're on the same page, Hawk. It started off so good. The rest, you had like a 360 turn. Girl, you need to give it a rest. She felt like a little teenage girl going after her crush. Okay, then we got Wrath of the Exile. This, I believe, this is a second gen. I haven't read the first gen. The amount of times that she said, I'm so alone, I'm so sad. Every single page. I get it, we're in her thoughts. You could have said it once or twice. You could have implied it. You could have shown, not told. Instead, you whined. And that just wasn't for me. Then we got Lights Out, the audiobook of the month, but I didn't listen to it. I get it was trying to be funny, but did I get the joke? Guys, the beginning, funny. The second part, a little bit out of pocket. It came out of right field, left field. What were you thinking? Why were you thinking? How were you thinking? I don't know if I'm talking about the author or the characters. It was fun while it lasted. Really not that special. Then we got Reckless. Reckless. You were reckless. I liked the setting. I liked the end. What was the middle? You could have taken the setting of this book, the third book that's coming out, you could have put the plot of that into Reckless and it would have been perfect. It honestly felt like fan fiction of her first book. If we wanted a break, we would have gone for a palate cleanser. Everyone wanted action, so we went to Reckless and it didn't deliver. And therefore, really not that special. Then we got Leave Me Behind. The writing could have been better. The story could have been better. At times it was like, what book are you trying to be? Therefore, I'm gonna say, what the F was that? Have you got a Mindfuck series? Is even I love a book? My weight just goes high because I remember the affection that I had. This is the definition of feminine rage and I live for it. The author, she's not with us anymore, but I feel like she could have written so many good books. I'm sad this book finished. And I'm sad there's nothing else from her. I wanted to get it tattooed on my body. In my head, it is tattooed on my body. Morrigan, I forgot this completely. This is part of the Kiss of Deception series. Couldn't tell you a thing that happened. Yeah, it could have been needed, but it could have also been like a flashback. I want to talk about The Lost Story first, because Beautiful Fiend is the book that I read the most recently. The Lost Story was, the best way to describe it is, it's a fairy tale. It is written like a fairy tale, and even like the narrator inserts herself to say what's happening right now and this is what's gonna happen, or whatever else she says, which I really liked. I liked the way it was written. I didn't want to pick it back up after like I took a break. When I was actually reading it, like I was into it. Honestly, smash. Actually, we're rooting for you. I can't give this higher. Then we got Beautiful Fiend. What do we do with you? Let me start with the things that I didn't like. I didn't like that the main female character, she said to herself like, oh, I'm all this, I'm all that, the strongest fighter, whatever. But then the second it came to guys, her fighting skills left the chat. I loved her boxing career, but whatever he did to her, she was like, oh well. I'm like, at least stand your ground a little bit. Put your money where your mouth is. It would have evened it out somewhat. That's why I'm saying like we were rooting for you. I feel like I missed out with some things I wanted to say. But these are all the tiers. They're pretty all accurate. At least the worst books are very accurate. You could not pay me to read those books again. No matter the price, no matter the cost. No, actually, the cost is the books. Anyways, so this was fun. Should we do it again? That is everything. Let me know if you agree with any of the ratings, because I am a quite harsh rater, and if any of the top books that I've rated are your top rated, then you can get more recommendations from me this year, because I've already read not the best books but entertaining ones. I feel like I'm saying goodbye forever, but it's just the first video. Anyways,